Tall on the toes, upright posture, keep the chest lifted, head stacked on top of the spine. Hinge forward, toes up toward your nose, walk on your heels. Lift the knee to a 90-degree angle, make big circles as you balance on one leg, big circles with the lifted foot. Make sure to go both directions, then switch legs, raise up to a tall 90-degree angle, rotate both directions. Grab the knee, pull it in towards you, warming up the whole back posterior chain. Just getting the glutes, hip, knee. Nice, tall, upright posture, chest is lifted, head is stacked on top of the spine. Kick as high as your leg will allow you to kick. Don't force this one. Legs should be straight, locked out. Toes pointed back towards you. You should feel a pull and a stretch in the back of the knee and through the hamstring. Straight on, nice and tall. Grab your foot, pull it into your hiney. Knee goes straight down to the ground. Squeeze your glutes and drive your hip forward. You should feel a stretch down the entire front of the quad and into the hip flexor. Reach up tall with the opposite arm. Nice lengthening stretch through the front of the body, from the torso all the way down into the hip flexor and into the quad. Long step forward, plant the back knee down, drive that hip forward, big step over, plant the knee, feel the stretch through the through the hip flexor. This is getting the psoas muscle, the main hip flexor, and it's the main connector between the upper and lower body. He likes to get really tight on a lot of runners. You can also add an overhead stretch with a slight lean. That'll get you a little more stretch through your abdominals, your torso, and your obliques. This is for the front of the shins, kind of warming up the muscle that runs along the shin bone. You can actually see on the leg on the right, you can see that muscle actually activating as the toes are lifted. The back leg is the side that we're stretching. So your back leg goes behind you. Make sure you're stretching straight over to the side. Don't hinge or lean forward. Mess that up right there. Grabbing that hand, bringing it over, get a nice stretch through the side, down into the tensor fascia latae and the IT band. Now we're going into figure 4. This is for the outer hip. Again, into the TFL and into the glute medius and the piriformis. Really try to not let your hips tilt as you sit down into it. Kind of push your butt back and feel a nice stretch in the outer hip. This one is for more of a hip rotation, so we're working the internal and external rotators of the hip. Make sure your back foot is pivoting as you make the turn. So we're getting nice rotation into the hips. As runners, we need good rotation through all of our hips, good movement through the hips and through the thoracic spine. So on this one, we kind of have a soft bend in the knees, Lock down the hips and then make a nice twist through the thoracic spine. High knees, drive those knees up. Think about fast foot turnover. So you're drive, 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 drive. Pump those arms. Make sure the arms are going just as much as the legs are going. And trying to get the knees up to your waist height. Butt kick, same cadence. So you're trying to have a quick foot turnover and drive those heels up towards your high knee. So think more about quantity on this one and not so much distance. So how many little steps can I get in that distance? Side shuffling, keep it low. Keep the chest lifted, hips down, and stay parallel to the line. Don't try to start turning into the direction that you're going. Karaoke. We are going into a front foot, goes in front, and then it goes behind, then in front. Coming back. Kind of zigzags. Make sure you're using your arms to help counterbalance and help facilitate the move. This is at high speed, or as high as I can get it. Mountain climbers, drive. This is all about a tricked up plank. So drive those knees forward as you are stacked. You can see my shoulders are right over my wrist. Air squats, nice and tall. Try to get deep. We're trying to get a 90-degree bend, or our thighs are trying to get parallel to the ground. Chest stays up. I lead by going back with my hips, and then I initiate the up through my shoulders. So at no point in time are my hips ever coming up before my shoulders start to head up towards the sky. Fast feet. This is all about trying to get fast feet going. Got to be light on our toes, especially in the trails. Back to quick feet. We're going just into a squat thrust. So plant the hands, jump out into a plank, and then quickly jump back up. Get those feet moving as fast as you can. We're going about 10 of them. Keeping the chest lifted, head is up. If you cannot do a push-up where your hips stay in line with your torso, where you kind of make one solid motion down, then go down to your knees. This is agility again. We've got to be fast feet out on those trails. So this is about being up on your toes, getting some lateral movement. Both feet go out, and then they come back in towards the center line. You'll be doing about 20 leading with the right leg. Then you'll do 20 more leading with the left leg. Arm swings. We do a lot of shoulder and arm movement through a running gait. So we want to make sure our shoulders are nice and mobile. They need to be able to move. We get a lot of power from our lats, which involves that arm swing. So, alternating. If you do not have good shoulder range of motion, you probably won't be able to go this far back with your shoulders. Do what your shoulders allow. Just kind of let them free swing. This is good old Michael Phelps. He did this before he went and did swimming, so might as well do what the Olympians do, although we're not swimming. Front and back leg swing. So we keep the torso nice and straight as you're getting a nice hip swing, working through the full range of motion, working the hip extensor, hip flexor mobility. You notice I've got no real bend in the knee. I'm working through the hip. Now in the lateral swing, we go let the toes come up towards the sky, and then as it comes out the other way, we rotate through the hip. So the toes are always constantly pointing up towards the sky. And then we'll speed up actual motion here. Keeping those toes. It's a nice rotation through the hips.